right, so everyone's lying on their back. So we always start every one of these Feldenkrais awareness through movement lessons with a scan. So with each one of these practices, and we're going to go through 7 different practices that relate to the 7 different chakras, we will start with some sort of little scan. And the scan is there, or we do the scan so that we have some sense of baseline with which to make comparisons about change, about what we're observing, what we're feeling, what we're sensing in our body. So as you are lying now, you can close your eyes if you want to. You've got your arms lying by their side, by your side, legs are long. And just start to bring your attention inward. And you might like to start with getting a global sense of how you're feeling in this moment, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if you like. There is absolutely no right or wrong with any of what we're doing here today. This is about you learning more about yourself through this process of exploring, directing your attention, and moving gently. So you've just started with a global sense of how you're feeling physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And if I invite you to consider whether you're feeling balanced and aligned, you can consider that however you choose for the moment as we start. And then what I want you to do is get a sense of your contact on the floor, your imprint on the floor, your spread. Where are you heavy? Where are you light? Where do you touch? Where don't you touch? And again, there's no right or wrong. You're just noticing what is. So how supported are you feeling by the ground? How much are you able to allow yourself to settle, to feel settled and supported by the ground? And if you were to imagine that you were lying along a balance beam that ran the length of your spine and, supporting your head, and it ran the length of the mat on which you're lying, how balanced or aligned would you feel lying on that balance beam? Would you feel like you're a bit tipped to one side? Would you feel like your balance is a little bit precarious and you need to hold on, and you might be gripping or tensing in certain areas? So this is giving us, in lying, just a tiny snapshot start of observing a physical sense of being balanced, aligned along the length of your spine and your head. Notice your breathing, the ease of your breathing, the expansiveness, where your body moves in response to your breath moving in and out. Where does the breath move you? It's always interesting as soon as we start talking about directing our focus to our breath, our breathing starts to change instantly. It starts to change. We're going to use our breath quite a bit in some of the practices. So it's nice to get a global sense of what's your breathing feel like just as we start. And I'm going to ask you to come up and stand on your feet. So, yeah, roll and come up to standing. So we will stand, we'll sit, we'll lie, we'll be doing a combination of different things, but I wanted to get the global overall picture to start and then to move into standing. So now that you're standing, I'm going to suggest if you're standing on the mat that you step off the mat just for the moment and stand on the carpet. And I want you to sense, you can have your arms hanging by your side and you can close your eyes if you're comfortable to do so. We're going to explore your sense of balance in standing. So we've just been exploring your sense of balance in lying on this imagined balance beam. As you're standing there, what is your sense of balance on your feet? Where is the weight on your feet? Are you more inclined to have your weight forward, back, in, out? And it may be different with each foot. So we don't judge it. We just observe what is. We're just sensing the weight on our feet. And I want you to now go up into your torso and sense the movement through your torso with your breathing. As you're breathing, as you're standing there. And you're just noticing, can you sense any forward movement through your torso as you're breathing? Maybe some backward movement, backward expansion as you breathe in. That might soften as you breathe out. Perhaps you can sense some sideways expansion through the sides of your ribs, through the side of your waist and below your waist on the way down to your pelvis. Maybe you can, maybe not so. Maybe you might even sense this upward and downward expansion as you breathe in, that everything expands up and out, and then down and in, up through the upper part of your chest and upper part of the back. But also you might sense a very subtle change in pressure through your pelvic floor. As you breathe in, that your pelvic floor might go down. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's okay wherever you're at the moment. So now what I'd like is that you keep your feet on the floor and you're just going to shift your weight just a little bit to have more weight on one foot, keeping both feet on the floor. And then you're just going to shift your weight to be more heavily standing on one foot. And you're going to notice the effects of that on your breath. What happened when you did that? Shifted your weight? Did your breathing change? Come back to where you were. So all of this is really subtle and it takes time to get into sensing yourself at all. Yeah, that's okay. Doesn't matter. You'll be surprised what you sense now compared within a couple of hours. So you shift your weight onto that leg and notice what happens to your breathing. Yeah, that's it. And it might get a bit more shallow for some. Yep, I'm getting nods. What happens if you shifted your weight over to the other foot, foot number 2? And I'm being really non-specific on purpose about which foot to go to, but it's interesting. We potentially breathe a little differently when we're standing more heavily on one foot than the other. And what I'd like now is that you shift your weight side to side like a pendulum swinging, and it's not a big movement. You're moving, shifting the weight over your soles of your feet. That's it. You're keeping your feet flat on the floor, and you're just shifting your weight a little bit left, a little bit right. It's a movement over your ankles, and go slowly. And what I'm wanting you to scan for is, can you find this place where your breathing starts to get the most full and free? So it's like you're shifting your weight like a pendulum swinging left and right, and the pendulum's getting smaller and smaller. The swing, the what's it called? Trajectory, whatever it's called. Left and right gets smaller and smaller, and you're starting to sense in your body, where is a place where my breathing just starts to get a little bit easier. And you're swinging side to side, and it gets smaller and smaller until you come to a place where you're standing and you're still. And you're checking in this relationship between what's going on in your feet and what's going on in your breathing. So, what you might notice now is that where you started with the weight on your feet, you might be weight bearing a little bit differently now to when you started. But we're looking for this relationship between the weight on our feet and the freedom, the ease of our breath. So don't worry if this is all feeling a bit elusive at the moment. The more we play with these ideas, the clearer they will start to become. They will start to emerge, some of these ideas. So wherever you're at, now I want you to think about shifting your weight a little bit forward toward the balls of your feet, and then shifting your weight back toward your heels. So this again is a small movement, but you're going forward and backward, and keeping your feet flat on the floor. So if you go so far forward that your heels lift, you've gone too far. If you go so far back that your toes want to lift in the air, then you're going too far. And again, you're doing the pendulum swinging forward and back, I should say this time. Forward and back, sensing once again, where is this place where my breathing starts to get a bit easier? My breathing might drop a bit, might fill a bit. And give me a little thumbs up or something when you feel like you're there. I know that I trust that you'll know what you're doing on the screen, so you don't need to give me a thumbs up. I just want you standing there and sensing yourself now upright on your feet. And ask yourself, is this how I started in standing? Or am I standing on a slightly different place in my feet? Different? Yeah. But has it changed your breathing? Has it made your breathing a little easier? Yeah. And Karen, yeah? Yeah. So now open your eyes, have a little walk around the room, and then can you come back and re-find that? As this is the foundation. This is the root chakra. And the root chakra is all about our connection with the ground, our ability to feel grounded, to feel stable, to feel balanced physically, mentally, energetically. So we're looking at starting with a stable, supported foundation. So can you come back? Can you re-find? You might go a little bit side to side, a little bit forward and back. See if you can find, where is it? Yeah, you might even find that there's a place that your shoulders start to just let go. You're feeling it, aren't you? Yeah. And your breathing's easy. And what we're doing is we're starting by finding this sense of groundedness at the bottom of our skeleton, and we're going to start to stack the skeleton in an aligned way, which will energetically change, which will balance our chakras as well. So now that you're standing, can you, everyone, so you can see what I'm doing, lift and drop onto your heel. So it's not about the lift, it's about the drop. And I want you to, it's about the drop. Yeah, that's it. I want you to land a few times on your heels to really feel the, like the echo, the ricochet up through your skeleton. Can you feel a bit of that? Yeah. Yeah. And so you don't have to go high. It's kind of like you're bouncing on your heels, but it's about the down. It's not about the up. And you can do it in a bit of a rhythm. So you don't have to go high. But that then just gives you a bit of a sense of your heels and your bones. So then, having done that, can you re-find where do you want to stand on your feet? Not too forward, not too back, where your breathing gets a little easier. This is about finding a supported, balanced, grounded foundation from which to align yourself. So this is a really good way of, when you're feeling nerves afraid or you're unbalanced, you can always come back to, where's the weight on my feet? Can I feel my feet? Can I feel a relationship between my feet and my breath? Yeah, there you go. And can you feel that already your system is starting to quieten? Just by attending to the weight on your feet and that relationship with your breath, because your breath will get easier and freer and fuller when we are aligning the skeleton, when we're starting to stack the skeleton, because then the bones are aligning joint to joint in such a way that the muscles don't have to work so hard to do the stabilizing. All right, let's come and sit in a chair. So I've brought a chair in for everyone to sit. So Di, you'll need a chair as well. I think you've got one in the room already by the looks of things. You're well organized. So we're going to sit in the chair, and I'm going to ask you to sit a little bit forward in the chair so you're not leaning against the back of the chair. Feet, do you need anything under your feet? Yeah, I'm going to put one little head pad under your feet. There, how's that feel? Lift? Better? More comfortable? And Helen, we'll just put some for you. Let's start with just one. There you go. Ah, yes, okay. Is that better? And then if I give you that, is that even better? Ah, yeah, great. So you're already differentiating. You're already sensing differences, which is terrific. So, all right, so you're sitting in the chair. I want you to be thinking right angles, ankles, knees, thighs, spine, and head. And you're sitting forward in your chair. So now in sitting, where's the weight on your bottom? So take your focus to your pelvis, to the weight on your bottom, and notice, are you standing more heavily on one foot? Sorry, let me say that again. Try again. Are you sitting more heavily on one side of your pelvis? And have you got any weight going through your feet? All right, so there's two big questions there. The first thing we're going to do is let's do a little bit of side to side movement, or shifting our weight across our pelvis, just like we were doing. Just turn the camera. Just like we were doing in standing, we're just shifting the weight on our pelvis to the left, to the right. It's like we're gliding side to side. And again, like the pendulum swinging, you're shifting your weight side to side, making the movement smaller and smaller and smaller until you can feel your body just takes this nice breath. So you're shifting smaller and smaller. And you feel, and you find where you're not sitting too heavily on one leg, on one side of your pelvis, you're not too heavy on the other side. You're somewhere in the middle-ish. But the measure is the freedom of your breath, the ease of your breath, because we're not 100% symmetrical beings. There, you found it, Karen. Yeah, you can feel it, can't you? Yeah. So now let me ask you, have you got any weight going through your feet? Because when we're sitting and want to feel grounded, we need to have weight not just through our seat, through our pelvis, but also through our feet. We need both. And so what we now need to do is ensure that we're getting some weight going through your feet as well, so that that can be your base of support, to support yourself to feel grounded, balanced, and stable. So now I'm going to get you to put your hands on your pelvis, on your hips. Not actually your hips, but we all say that, don't we? I don't know why we say it, because it's actually not really, is it? On the bony, at the top of the bony bits. Yep. And then I want you to roll your pelvis a little bit forward and a little bit back. And you're not moving so much forward and back. You're moving a little more up and down. So you roll your pelvis forward and you get a bit tall. Then you roll your pelvis back and you get a bit short. So we're doing a bit more of the up and down. Yeah, that's the movement, Helen. Yeah, rolling the pelvis. And in the process, can you feel that some parts, the weight, you can start to feel some weight going through your feet as you roll your pelvis? And you feel some weight going through your feet, because what we want is some weight through our feet and our seat. Because if we've only got weight going through our pelvis, then our base of support in sitting is really small and we're not balanced, we're not supported, so we can't feel really grounded. And then our muscles are doing a lot more work than they need to hold us up. So one of the really good things when we're feeling particularly unbalanced is to come back to, can I feel my feet on the ground? Can I feel my pelvis on the chair? Because if I'm sitting with my feet tucked under, that's not grounded and supported. That's not stable and balanced and going to help me feel grounded and safer and stable. So we're looking for, where on your pelvis are you, just changing this light, where can you find a place that will allow your breath to be easy, where you're not sitting too far forward and too tall, nor sitting too far back, rolled back and collapsed, where your skeleton, your feet and your seat, your pelvis, can support you in sitting and provide that ground. And your breathing gets lighter. Oh, you can take your hands away from your hips if you like. Sorry, forgot to mention that bit. Everyone's still got their hands there. Sorry, just rest your hands. And just notice your breath. And notice how we've spent, I don't know, however long, 20 minutes. Notice how already you are changing your internal state just by grounding yourself physically, which is also root chakra, energetically grounding yourself. This is about your balance, your stability, your support through your connection with your body, supported by this external surface. Yeah. So stand up, have a little walk around, and I'd like you to see if you can just walk around and then come back and see if you can refine a sense of that, even a tiny sense of that in sitting, just so you've got some idea to come back to. It's your back niggling, Helen. Are you lying? You got a sore back. Oh, well, this will, hey? Nurse's back. Yes. Yes. Well, these will be interesting to see if that can change how you're sensing yourself. So can you come back to your chair? Can you come back? Can you find a way to feel some weight going through your feet and through your pelvis? That's it. So you might need to, do the side to side where you're shifting your weight over the bones. That's it. You can feel the bony bits of your bum, can't you? Yeah. Shifting your weight side to side and maybe rolling your pelvis a little bit forward and a little bit back where you get a tiny bit tall and then short as you're rolling, and then finding that kind of sweet spot where your body then often will just take this releasing breath. Yeah, and that's your nervous system. That's your brain saying, "Oh, thank God, that's the place. We're in the ballpark." So then, if you're in sitting and you're still not really feeling your feet terribly clearly, then you can do this same sort of tapping as we were doing in standing on our heels. You can do it through one heel and really tap. And you can even do it where you can lift and drop your foot, like lift it up and then let it drop and really feel. Then you'll feel, yeah. So it's not like you're placing your foot, you're letting it land to really feel. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and if you come back to your breath, how differently are you breathing already? Because the more skeletally aligned we become, like the scaffolding of a building, the more we stack the scaffolding, i.e., the bones, the freer our breathing becomes. And as our breathing becomes freer, it's like this inverse relationship. Our breathing frees as we become more grounded. So, root chakra, this sense of grounding, this sense of support through your own skeleton, support from this ever present external surface, both the ground and the chair, and a sense of balance. So, this is about the foundation of safety and security in your body. And I even toyed with, I was playing with the idea of some mantra or some affirmations. And for me, this root chakra grounding is about, I feel safe in my body. I'm home in my body. I feel safe. All right. Any questions about root chakra? Anyone? Already zoning out, calming down? Yeah. Di, did you have any questions, or you're good? You're good. Rightio. Very good.